Canadian taxpayers just watched a bureaucrat earning $393,000 in a year. Admit something shocking. She makes no decisions, she runs no agency, and she delivers no measurable results. When asked what she accomplished last week, there was no answer. Only deflection, only excuses, a $4 million office with zero accountability. Conservatives asked the question Canadians are asking at home. Who is actually in charge and what exactly are we paying for? Watch for yourself what happened next in this heated exchange.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Nemer, let's begin with the basics. As Chief Science Advisor, are you the head of an agency, a government agency?
No, I'm not the head of a government agency.
Okay. So do you make any regulatory decisions that are going to be implemented by this government?
I don't make decision. I'm an advisor. I provide advice on policies and sometimes implementations.
So you don't oversee any operational files? You don't? Okay.
I don't.
So according to published sources, you earn $393,000 per year. Is that number correct? About ballpark?
I'm sorry, the number refers to what?
$390,000. That's your salary. Is that correct?
My salary is the bracket of my salary is public information. Yes.
Okay. So for that level of compensation, what exactly are Canadian taxpayers paying you to do? I just want to get an understanding of that.
Well, I think that's a very good question, sir. And what the Canadian public is paying for is an independent advisor that's functioning in a transparent and trustworthy manner, that's providing unbiased advice to government and putting them actually in the public domain. They're actually funding an office that provides a challenge function for government, and let me tell you that we need more and not less of that. And it's also supporting Canada's international engagement, making sure our government has the latest information to make decisions.
Here. So according to the staffing directory, your office is made up of 24 employees. Is that number correct or around that ballpark?
Yes, that's about correct.
So what's the total operating budget of your office, including travel, staff, everything per year?
It's under $4 million.
Under $4 million. So your office, I don't think appears to publish any performance audits. You just said it doesn't make any kind of mandatory recommendations and does not oversee any federal agency. You're not a head of an agency. So what exactly are your sort of key performance indicators?
Well, first of all, let me perhaps, help you appreciate the position by saying that all peer countries have a chief science advisor. I guess they must all feel that this is a helpful position for government.
I want to understand how do taxpayers measure your performance specifically, not just the fact that it exists in other countries?
Okay, so I was in my appointment, I was appointed at what's called good behavior, and I don't get any bonus pay. And it was, done this way so that I guess to maintain the independence of the office, so I don't have to provide the advice that the minister or the prime minister wants to hear, and that truly function in an unbiased manner.
I understand the independence of it, but okay, so let's move on and let's talk about deliverables and transparency. In the private sector, for this level of senior executive compensation, people are held to weekly deliverables, action items, active reports, performance metrics. So what exactly did you accomplish in the last week?
Well, sir, I guess I have to maybe explain how we function, because we provide advice to the government, and
did you provide any advice in the last week or last couple of weeks?
Yes, absolutely. I've provided advice in the past week to the Minister of Industry and to the Prime Minister.
And what did that accomplish?
It's not my job, to see how well they, take up or not my advice. Because if I were to do this, then I think that it will skew completely the work that I do. But over the years, I have evidence that my advice has impact, that what we do has impact on Canadians. And of course, it was best illustrated during the COVID pandemic. But there are a number of other examples of this. We've put out...
That's okay. I don't want to go back to the pandemic. So just... The National Research Council was uncovered that it spent $61,000 on rooftop patio furniture. Are you aware of that?
No.
Do you feel that $61,000 is a good use of taxpayer money on rooftop patio furniture?
Sir, I'm not in the operations, and no one asked me, to give advice on these kind of expenses.
You may not make the decision on the patio furniture, but do you think it's a good use of money for $61,000?
I can't quite comment, because I don't know in what context it was. For all I know, it may have been in the context of a, field scientific project or...
It was definitely not for research. It was for like a building that had rooftop patio furniture, and it cost $61,000. I mean, if you were running your office, would you spend $61,000 on rooftop patio furniture?
Point of order.
Point of order, please.
Yes, Mr. McKenna.
Thank you. I feel this is not within the purview of this witness and her role as a science advisor. I would suggest that we want to keep our questions in relation to her purview.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you have 2 seconds left.
I just...
No, he had a point of order. I've taken it. You have 2 seconds left. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Nemer, so since you were appointed as Chief Science Advisor back in 2017, who sets your mandate? Is it the Liberal government?
The government says, it's the mandate of the position was set by the government, yes.
So I see it as part of your mandate, you're supposed to prepare an annual report to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Science on the state of federal government science. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, do you know if the Prime Minister has read that report?
It's online.
But do you know if the Prime Minister has read that report? Because you're supposed to give this report to the Prime Minister.
Well, I haven't given it in person, but his office has received it.
Okay, but you don't know if he has personally read this report. You don't know. Okay. So I have a copy. So I have a copy of the annual report. There seems to be a lot of photos of conferences being attended, and a lot of photos, not a lot of content. I mean, see one of the pages here. It's all just images. So, what is the measurable value of this report for taxpayers? I mean, we know there's a $4 to $5 million budget set aside, and one of the key parts of your mandate is to prepare this report. So, how do we measure the value of this report? That seems like a scrapbook with a lot of images of conferences.
Well, with due respect, the report has a lot of content. The fact that we have illustrations and it doesn't take away from its value and its content. And it's, I don't know if you're expecting me to judge my own report. Perhaps you could ask others, how they're using it and whether it's valuable to them.
So, if your office stopped doing the work that it did, what exactly would stop working in the government? How would that affect the lives of everyday Canadians?
So I've just, earlier I'm going to give you a couple of examples, okay? So I gave the example of H5N1, the report here that we've provided on the science and the evidence that we need so that we can manage and prevent actually an epidemic. So to do this, I brought together 10 different departments. Some were doing things in isolation from others. Others didn't even, feel they needed to be part of this.
This report on viruses and vaccines and all that. Does not fall under the purview of Health Canada? Why do we need a separate office to justify?
Well, no,
they're the ones doing the work. They're the ones with the scientists.
No, it
and
doesn't,
doctors.
because Health Canada, their mandate is health. When we're talking about H5N1, we're also talking about animal health. So we're talking about agriculture, about CFIA. We're talking about Environment Canada, about Parks Canada.
So
we're talking
you just
about
listed
DFO.
a bunch of
DFO.
agencies in your response. You just listed out a dozen agencies. That was your response. And so it sounds like those agencies already exist to do the work, and that's probably the objectives of those agencies. You know, just CFIA, Health Canada, and all that. So how does your office add any value? Is it just another bureaucratic office?
We add a lot of value by bringing people together, actually by bringing a lot of experts from the outside. And you may be very interested to know that people work for us for free. So we've had hundreds of experts from academia and private sector work on our many.
I'm going to continue. Well, certainly your office doesn't work for free. I see, you were in a conference in Brazil in your annual report, so this happened recently. What exactly were you doing there? Who did you meet with?
There was
the
G20. I was representing the Minister of Science at the Science Ministerial for the G20.
And what did you accomplish there?
I represented Canada at a global forum that we are part of.
So you flew business class, presumably with some of your staff, and took a bunch of photos. But what can you even?
As a matter of fact,
other than meet.
Madam Chair, I just like to say that just because we have photo doesn't mean that we have 10 people traveling with us. As a matter of fact, on that particular trip, I had no staff with me.
Did you take business class on that trip too?
When I travel according to the directives of the government of Canada.
Sorry for interrupting. Time is up for MP Ho. And